Human rights groups are warning that all Muslims in Myanmar are facing persecution, not just the country's Rohingya population. The UN says almost 125,000 people have now fled the Myanmar's government's violent crackdown into neighbouring Bangladesh. Doctors there say they're struggling to cope. Azeem Ibrahim is a fellow at Mansfield College at the University of Oxford. He's also the author of The Rohingyas, Inside Myanmar's Hidden Genocide, and joins us now live from Chicago. Good to have you with us. So clearly there is growing international pressure on Aung San Suu Kyi to intervene and try to curb the military operations in Rakhine State. But why isn't she doing this? And does her inaction amount to complicity?
Yeah. Well, the Rohingya have been described by the United Nations as the most persecuted minority in the world. Over the last 5 decades, they have faced wave after wave of violence. But this most recent wave of violence is probably the worst we've actually ever seen. Over 120,000 have fled into Bangladesh. The United Nations estimates that's over 15,000 a day, and an additional 400,000 are actually trapped in the conflict zone. Human Rights Watch has obtained satellite images which shows that hundreds of kilometres of villages, in some places like the Mongdo district, 80% of all houses have been burnt to the ground. That's 2,600 houses. This complete silence from Aung San Suu Kyi, she has drawn a moral equivalence between the Rohingya and the military, saying that both sides are equally to blame for any violence. And this is the moral equivalence of saying both the Nazis and the Jews were to blame for the Holocaust, or the whites and the blacks were to blame for apartheid South Africa. It is moral bankruptcy, and it is only right that global leaders are now speaking up and recognising her for the shortcomings that she has.
In fact, a UN official said a few months ago that this persecution of the Rohingya in Myanmar amounted to ethnic cleansing. So what can the UN do? What should they be doing? And what can we expect them to do?
The United Nations should essentially force through the recommendations that were made by Kofi Annan through the Rakhine Commission, which Aung San Suu Kyi was very keen to celebrate when she initiated the commission. You know, the cynics amongst us believe that this commission was set up simply to try to get sanctions lifted of Myanmar, on which account she was fully successful. But the recommendations made by Kofi Annan are robust, and the United Nations should work to implement those as soon as possible. But the more immediate need is to actually take care of the fleeing civilians. There has been no food brought to them since 25th of August. Many of them are literally now starving to death, with hundreds of thousands of them trapped and not getting an international community, international aid organisations not getting access to them. In fact, the military chief, General Min Aung Hlaing, has actually come on record and said that this is a Bengali problem. They do not recognise the Rohingya as being indigenous people. They believe that they are all illegal immigrants from Bangladesh, which is completely erroneous and false. And he said that this is a Bengali problem which is long overdue, which they wish to rectify now.